Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fifth live webinar of the fifth edition of the PhD and Career Development MOOC. This is our second live webinar in English this year. The first one was with the renowned career strategist Sarah Blackford 2 weeks ago, and we talked about how PhDs can prepare for their next career step, with and without a plan. You can watch the recording of the webinar on our YouTube channel. And tonight, three members of the PhDOOC Association will be moderating the webinars. So here is Paulina. Hi, Paulina.
Hi, Benedict. Hi, all.
We also have Sarah, who is monitoring the chat, and my name is Benedict.
We also have Béatrice, who is the CEO and the co-founder of Smart Tribe, which is an artificial intelligence networking platform that connects academics and industry professionals. Good evening, Beatrice, and thank you very much for being with us here tonight.
Hello, everyone. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. Would you mind introducing yourself and talk to us about Smart Tribe, please?
Pleasure. Smart Tribe is a platform which allows academics to mingle and network with the industry. We are trying to bridge the gap between academia and industry. I am more industry person than academia now because I have 20 years of experience working on the industry side. I have been commercializing emerging technologies, very often coming from scientific research for corporates. So I work with different companies and people around the world. I lived in China, in Russia, in the United States, in France, sub-Saharan Africa, basically in many places. So just helping companies to solve their problems with the research. And what I've noticed over those years, that there is so much out there, absolutely out, both talent in academia and research, which just is untapped. There's a wealth of people and knowledge which we are missing. And at the same time, industry spends over trillions of dollars every single year on reinventing the wheel very often and spending money on R&D without even looking into academia. Obviously, we know about the collaboration between industry and academia, but what I've noticed, it's inefficient, it's quite old-fashioned. The system, the way how we set it up, it's not very great, especially for academics, not to mention, a lot of the realities are kept by universities, but also we have the idea, me and my co-founder, Chris Jack, to a little bit empower academics in terms of their career progression after the PhD, either in finding the right jobs for themselves or start companies or commercialize their science. Basically, we want to bridge the gap. And we also truly believe that by bringing more academics into industry, we can create more companies and focus on things, on what really matters, healthcare, education, climate change, those things which are really important for everyone, but especially in academia. And we want to bring the focus on things which really matter in life and create companies which actually solve problems rather than create more problems, which very often business people do create. So that's why it's a Smart Tribe. It's a networking platform right now, but we are still early stage startup. We've been less than 2 years, based out of London in the United Kingdom. But members have been joining us from all over the world. We are over 12,000 now. Majority are based in the US, but also we have a lot of people from England, from Germany, France, a little bit less in Asia, but more and more as well. And what we do, twice a month right now, we are providing introductions, individual introductions, one-to-one between academic and industry person. And the purpose is more, not for job purposes, because we are not a recruitment platform, but more for the academics to figure out what they want to do, more to get accustomed talking to industry people, introduce themselves in the industry language. Sometimes people do find jobs through it, but most of the time they get advice on what to do, how to do it. They are also creating companies on our platform. They find co-founders. We have examples, very recent one where was one scientist from Scotland commercialized his science with Amazon. I just heard an hour ago, another industry person became an advisor to a new startup created in France. Also, they met on our platform. So all kind of relationships are being created on SmartTribe. We just encourage the relationships between industry and academia through individual connections.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. Actually, I started using SmartTribe and I've been able to connect with wonderful people. So thank you for creating it. And many thanks to those of you who are attending this live webinar. Feel free to post your comments and ask your questions in the live chat on YouTube. The chat box is located on the right of the video, and you will need to be logged in via your Google or Gmail account to be able to add your questions. Please be aware of the fact that there is a lag between the moment we speak and the moment we are live stream on YouTube. So that might have an impact on how fast we can answer questions. And we thank you for your patience and your understanding. So tonight we will focus on various aspects of networking, but before we ask more questions to Beatrice, I would like to share with you some updates from Unit 5. And I would like to share more precisely a small pre-unit poll that we did before Unit 5. And the question was, are you able to access job position offers that are aligned with your career plan? And the English participants answered, and you can see that about half of them can find job positions that are aligned with their career plan, but they think they could be more efficient at finding these positions. And then it's evenly split between those who are confident and those who actually cannot access job positions aligned with their plan. Whereas within the French participants, it's a bit different. There are more people who struggle to find positions that match with their plan. So those are the results of the quick survey, and I'm handing it over to Paulina.
Thank you for sharing this information, Benedict. We hope that you all found Units 4 and 5 helpful and useful. Over to you, Beatrice. Do you have any tips to promote collaborations between academics and industrial professionals? Thank you.
I think some time ago I wrote a blog, which was, I think many people found it very useful. It was called The One Who Works for a Company. And this was about the one is the PhD who works for a company. I'll make a little bit a joke about it and fun. Because I work, I left academia some years ago. And over those years, I work with both sides, with academics who I totally understand where they're coming from, and also the industry people, and I understand their side as well. So few tips from my learnings over the past 20 years, if I can share it with you, Paulina, and Benedict, and everybody else, is try to speak their language, try to understand the industry people. If you are willing to work with them, if you are staying with academia, then that's fine. But if you are committing yourself to move to industry, whatever is it, either working for a company or start your own company or being a consultant, first try to think like them. It's it's maybe a little bit a sales approach. You have to market yourself and sell yourself, but it's true. And in order to be a good salesperson of yourself, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes, be a good listener. I've been consultant for many years, and one of the things which really, I think, helped me in my career is to really listen and put myself in their shoes to understand their problem. Okay, we have done a few webinars with fantastic people from Google, PayPal, and a few others, and it's always the same advice they gave to academics. It was make yourself useful to them, explain to them how you can help them. And in order to do it, you have to put yourself in their shoes, understand the company problems, and then think about it, how you can help them. Then whoever you're speaking with, who you're going for a job interview, or you're working as a consultant, helping on a project, whoever you are working with on the industry side, also think about that person, because that person is going to be either succeed or fail, but through working with you. So put yourself in the shoes of that person. It's going to be career change maybe for him or her. So that's definitely my advice. Also, speaking the same language, I keep talking about it over and over and over again, because we always say people with PhDs speak very scientific jargon, and people don't understand them. And I understand if it stays in the lab or in the university, but when you speak into industry, try to find a more understandable, language. We call this the grandma test. Try to explain to someone what you do, like you would explain to your grandmother, given that she doesn't have a PhD in your topic, right, in your subject. But try to be understanding and just be forthcoming and friendly. I know that people are sometimes intimidated and scared, but there's nothing to be. There's a lot of friendly people on the industry, and they're curious of you. So mirror that, definitely. So speak the same language, very common language. Be also precise. Also, the industry standards as way of thinking is a bit different, especially when it comes to timings. In companies, everything is much faster. People don't have time because they have goals, they have sales goals, they have marketing goals. So things have to happen very quickly. And it has repercussions on everyone, because if you want to launch a new projects, and you go on to work in R&D or in the innovation team, you have to remember there's a deadline for it, because there's a certain money invested in it. So everybody has to do something on time. So don't take too much time. I know that industry people just go crazy when they hear, well, I need to do more research. I mean, yes, this is the most common thing, and always make me laugh. And let's just calm down. I know you need more research, but you don't. And the industry people don't want 100% answers. If 60, 70% accuracy, it's already great. If you have 80%, they are like, wow, it's amazing. Nobody expects any perfection in industry. And this is one thing, PhD, you are very precise. You want to deliver the best, right? You want to do your best, and it's great. That's what you are appreciated for. But in companies, sometimes people find it really annoying that you're taking too much time or getting frustrated because you are too precise. So it was another tip was, don't be too geek, if I can say that, because people will just see you. Sometimes they will really appreciate that, but sometimes they would think you are not a team player because you are too much. And in order for the whole team to deliver on time, you have to be part of the team player. And sometimes you need to cut the corners as well, if possible, obviously. So I think that's a few tips about how to think like an industry person in a speed,
Yes, thank you so much, Beatrice. This is really interesting, and you gave us really insightful tips. And actually a way to get to learn more about the industry world, the way people work, their mindset. Doing informational interviews is really a nice way to do this, to achieve that. And this is something that we tried to talk about during Unit 4 in our MOOC, which was focused on the hidden job market. And this is also something that can be done really easily through Smart Tribe. So I wanted to know if you had any advice for PhDs to ask for and learn from informational interviews.
It's so true. The hidden job market. It's interesting what you say. I spoke some time ago with Tina Pearson. She is a PhD career coach, and she gave us an interview. And she actually believes that there is 60% of jobs for PhDs in the hidden market. They are never advertised, and people just try to look for someone else for their team through their network. That's why we so much encourage people to network with the industry people, because when they have an open position, the first thing they do, they think, who do I know? oh, I remember I spoke to someone, or as they ask their friends around or their colleagues, do you know someone, before they even go to the HR or recruitment department and start advertising the job. And it's nothing to do with not to advertise the job. It's just the hassle explaining to recruiters what you want, taking the time writing the job spec, and very often recruiters misunderstand this anyway and don't find the right person. So yes, 60% of people are going through the managers who are people who are recruiting, especially in position where which PhDs can fill through the hidden market. And in terms of this the interviews, you know, what tips? I think there has been so much written and talk about it. There's so many good advisors on PhD career coaches, like Tina, Chris Humphrey, and many others. But I mean, the first thing I would say to prepare yourself. You know, you're a researcher. You know how to research about the company, about the person who is interviewing you. So be prepared for this. Definitely try to be yourself, be more relaxed, have good stories to tell. You know, what people remember you because they interview so many people, and sometimes they don't remember because they always see the CV in front of them, and very often the background, experience, education is very similar. But one thing they will remember is a story, is an anecdote you're going to tell them. Not a joke, but something interesting about yourself. So find a few stories, a detail, and that's what people will remember you. So stand out, be brave, ask good questions, prepare yourself with good questions, because asking good questions tells a lot about you as well. And don't be afraid to follow up later what's happened, and anything else you could address.
Thank you, Beatrice. Let's see if there are any questions in the chat. Maybe no, not for the moment. Okay, finally, let's talk about one last topic that is of interest to many PhDs who take our PhD in Career Development MOOC. Transitioning to industry. Do you have any advice for PhDs who would like to transition?
That's such a big topic. I don't know even where to start. One thing I would say, my advice would be there is so much already being written, told, about the transition. I know it's a scary sometimes, and for many people it's necessary. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be scared. Don't be ashamed. I actually find some people being ashamed of it because they want to do academic career. And I thought this is already in the past, but still people find this like, because I'm failing in academia, so that's why I'm moving to industry. You're not failing. You know, 80% of academics have to find jobs somewhere else. 80%, that's a lot of people. It's because there is no spaces at university. And from what I've seen, it's less and less, and it's more and more difficult. So you're not the only person who needs to transition. There's 80% of other people. What also pains me is that 60% of the best educated, qualified people in the world at some point in their lives become unemployed. So that's a big challenge and big problem. Don't be afraid of it. You are not alone, that's for sure. So ask others for help, also from academia, but also from outside academia, and start creating your networks or your while you are still at university. Okay, you have to come out of the silo and get to know different people. I sometimes even speak to people or follow people who I don't agree with, just to see the different point of view, you know, just to get to know different people. So networking is not something scary, because we've been networking all our lives. As a children, we network in school to meet friends. Then as adults, we network to meet partners in our lives. So it's like pretty much the same, you know. You have to network always, all your life. So it's nothing bad about it. And with the transition to industry, just treat this as a job on its own. Be very, do the research, find out what do you want to do. And even if you already you transition and you fail in doing that, that's fine. Many people doing this, it was not the right path. Try it again with something different. What Smart Tribe we are trying to do, what I mentioned just before we started the webinar, it's we are really thinking of ways how we can empower PhDs rather than PhDs waiting for the job offers and chasing those job offers where plenty of other people applying. How we can empower you to be in control rather than be control. And especially nowadays where there's so much encouragement for academics to start their own companies. Also, the economies, the kind of gig economy is only known for lower skilled jobs like Uber drivers. But we are thinking, well, actually, can we do something for the academia? How about you can teach ad hoc? How about you can do project ad hoc with companies? How can you be an expert? So we're definitely going to move towards helping more academics to be empowered in terms of the career and transition to industry. So also take care of yourself. That's a very important point. People forget about it, they get stressed, and life continues. Many of us have families at the same time, or starting families, already have families. It's another pressure point. So take care of yourself as in terms of mental health in general. I know it's hard to do it because there's so many hours in a day, but find the space for it and time for it. Take care of yourself, otherwise everything falls apart. Don't put too much pressure. It takes time. On average, I would say it takes about 6 months to find a job or you really want. And sometimes you might want to compromise even and find something which is in the meantime, just to get the experience. One thing I find really frustrating is when companies are hiring PhDs and hiring them on very entry level, because PhD is a qualification, it's not just a degree, and something we are working really hard to educate the industry on. So try to explain your PhD as a work experience. Okay, the project you've done during PhD, put on your CV as a work experience and explain what project you work, what kind of transferable skills you have the company can benefit from, because there's plenty of transferable skills. I think we have been talking about it on Smart Tribe and plenty of other people all the time. We have it, our leaflets with this and talk about it on social media, so you can find it if you want. So translate this into work experience, more kind of industry language again, and so on. And then also try to find out what you can do, just not jump into any job, any job offers out there, but learn also about the companies you want to work for. I usually advise people to do a short list of companies you want to work for or around, and then just learn what you can do. And then not just rely on the job offers you see in ads. Reach out to the people who are managing those jobs, right? Who are the sponsor of the job. So is it either the head of R&D, the innovation manager, or the chief data scientist, whoever it is, or find people, try to network with people who work in this company and say, well, listen, I think your company was advertising. Do you know anyone? Just ask. You would be amazed when you ask, people actually help. They don't find you strange or anything. Recruiters, yes, they very often ignore. But when you ask somebody else, and also try to find other PhDs who work for those companies, they will help. We have tremendous people in industry who already had PhDs, and they coming to Smart Tribe just to give back to the community and help. And if you find someone with PhD working in this company, you want a job, and even they work in a different department, go and ask for help. Very often they will try to help you.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. This is extremely helpful. We have one question in the chat, I think.
Yes, it's from Hind, how to successfully simplify our thesis subject in front of an industrial employer without losing its value. What advices could you give us about this? Thanks.
Excellent question. I love it. Such a good question. And this is very, very common problem. Something which we're trying to figure out as well, and ask and practice and train PhDs who are on SmartTribe. So now, do remember the value, very often what is perceived, the value for you and the value of the industry person, okay? Very often when I talk to academics, scientists, they say, well, this is the value because I'm curious, I want to do the research. And they go into all those details about research. The industry person really, very often, not all of them, but very often they really don't care. How did you get there? Okay, they don't care. They just want to know what does it mean for them. And I know it's brutal. It's especially when you spend years doing this research, and it's hurtful almost that you have to just brutally shrunk this to a one paragraph. What is the industry application? Which sounds not just brutal, but deminimizing your work. But otherwise they will not understand you. And maybe later they will ask questions, right? So how did you get there? But start with the final answer and very shortly and plainly explain what does it mean for them? What does it mean for the industry? And if you even say, okay, so this is for your industry, but also it's scalable and also could be applied there and there, they will love it even more. You don't have to tell them how to make money from it, because companies obviously are profitable for profit. That's not what they are asking you, but they are asking how you can solve the industry, the problem, without any scientific jargon, how it's applicable, how they can use it, how it can be useful for them. And if it's you, and also think about that company customers, either another enterprises or just consumers, and what impact it would have on them. That would be fantastic benefit, because companies always need to sell something to someone or do something. And if you think about the end customer, that's even better. How does it impact the end customer? Or if it's NGO, that's also how impact, something else. Is it climate change or anything? So I know it's not the most pleasant sometimes exercise for academics, but it's an interesting one. It has to be applicable for the industry. How they're going to use it. And the short term, remember that industry is impatient, right? They need to have the solution now, and they have to use it as soon as possible.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. Speaking on the objective and the goals of the industrial projects, companies communicate a lot on social media, and it's becoming a thing. Like, they talk more and more about their products, their services, the people they hire, their values. So you get tons of information, but it's quite hard to get, it's quite subjective, and it's quite hard sometimes to get objective information that can help you see where the company is going and the vision of the company and how you can apply for it. So do you have any tips on ways people can get more objective information about companies?
I actually find so boring to read industry literature on their website. It's in the business language, the way how they present themselves. Not all of them, but many of them, especially the traditional industry, is just so dull. And indeed, to figure out what they're really doing, where they are heading, it's just so hard. Even I know them, I'm thinking, oh, it's just impossible to really get it. So try to understand also the competitors, what the industry is doing. Read a little bit about market trends. There's plenty of free publications written by the management consultants and everybody about this industry in general, and you will understand, because everyone in this particular sector will be doing the same and chasing the same corners. Okay, you will be having the same customers, will be having the same similar problems. So try to figure, if you cannot understand what the company is really doing, but oh, they are in the, I don't know, cybersecurity or whatever it is, or data science or anything robotics, to try to find out what is the similar companies, or what they say. Because sometimes they try to present it differently, but actually they're not. They're very similar. So if you find this difficult, that's one thing. And also try to speak to people who work there, who can tell you a little bit more insights, learn about the customer, the products, what they are offering, and also about who they are offering this for, okay, what they really do. Because indeed, don't be put off by the business jargon. It's written specially to just confuse people. So don't feel bad that you don't understand, because nobody else can. And just try to understand the whole industry and market segment. And then very 99%, they are facing the same challenges like everybody else.
All right, thanks. We have another question. So PhDs generally do not have any business acumen. Also, they do have skills to become good in business development and contribute to the growth of companies in many ways. So how can networking help them to gain some business acumen skills?
First of all, you need to have some willingness that you want to, and what is the purpose of gaining the business acumen? It's because you want to start a company, or because you want to better understand the company you want to work for. It's really depending on the purpose. What do you want to do if you want to transition to industry? Because you don't have to have it. You don't have to do MBA, and you don't have to have a deep understanding of the business, and it will come over time. Once you start working, be patient, and you will understand the dynamics of the company, and you understand the drivers there. But to just learn in order to transition, just learn from others, read about it, and really focus on what you want to achieve. People don't expect you to be business acumen if you are coming with PhD in aerospace or artificial intelligence. Like, they expect something totally different from you. But definitely understanding the industry and the company challenges is beneficial. It makes you more employable, because you are friendly. You are not a stranger to them. It's somebody who wants to join the company to help them. It's very, very important. You have to come across as someone who wants to help them. And you can even admit, listen, I've spent 10 years of my life studying computer science. That's what I know, but I really want to learn more about business while working for your company and so on. And it will be far more appreciated rather than you forcing yourself to learn something of business. But unless you really want to. So my advice to people, especially who want to start companies, and even if you want to stay in the technical roles, still try to learn a little bit business skills. Doesn't mean you don't need to do MBA, but go through some programs. There's a lot of accelerators for startups, and they help with that. Join a lot of networks for founders, for entrepreneurs. Read the literature. I started startup with my third startup. Still, I had to learn so many things, and every day I have to learn, because things are changing super fast in this industry as a startup. So learn from others, ask for help. And indeed, even if you want to be CTO or product manager in a startup, try to learn the business as well. Especially if you want to be co-founder, it's good to know things.
Thank you very much. We have one last question from Lynn. So the thesis subject can be extremely specific. So even regardless of the specificity, can you still apply in industry in a completely different field? Like, for example, in product application or consulting or project management, even though you've done a thesis in molecular biology, for example?
Absolutely, 100%. First thing, you have to be committed to it, because some people feel very bad that they have to give up the subject area and they want to do more research. But if you are fine with that, try to figure out, especially with the help with networking with industry people, your skills you have gained during your PhD, how they can be applicable in those companies you're gonna work for or you want to work for. And people in industry are not going to be put off because you have fantastic PhD titles they cannot pronounce. But if you explain to them what skills you have, what the company can gain by hiring you. So once again, going back to my very first point, present yourself, not by PhD title, present yourself, how you're going to help them. I said, okay, I have PhD in marine biology, but I have developed fantastic models in data science, which can really help in financial services, because we have analyzed millions and millions of data of, I don't know, whales moving around the world, right? And I know it's maybe strange for finance people, but those models are applicable in the trading market and this and that. So you need to learn a little bit the industry. Just once again, make yourself useful for the industry. Tell them how you're going to help them, and then they're going to forget that you have PhD titles they cannot pronounce anything. They actually find it super interesting and attractive. Remember that people were joining industry from a different backgrounds and they like the diversity. Financial markets, for example, there's a lot of people coming from ex-military who had no financial background whatsoever, but because they have, or sportsmen, there has been a lot of, over those years, promoting people, sportsmen and sportswomen, coming to industry, because after certain years, they cannot do sport anymore. They have to do something else. They have to retire quite young. And they have to apply these skills, which was the discipline, keeping timelines, teamwork, and so on. So focus on those things, on those transferable skills you have gained while in academia, and how you can work in industry with this. And then if you have something even additional, like I give you the example about marine biology and the data science, or anything else you can find, that's extra benefit.
Thank you very much. That was really helpful and insightful. We will stop here for tonight because we try to keep our webinars quite short. But thank you for this terrific conversation and for all the pieces of advice that you gave us. This is really, really helpful. Thank you also, Paulina and Sarah, for your help in moderating this webinar.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Next week, there will be another webinar at 7 p.m. Paris time with PhDOOC, and this webinar will be in French. In the meantime, we will stay in touch on the forum discussions and in the collaborative documents and walls on the MOOC platform. The MOOC units will remain open until March 3rd, and you still have time to explore the MOOC contents and do the activities. So thank you, everyone, and we wish you a great night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
7 p.m. Paris time with PhDOOC, and this webinar will be in French.